How can some salespeople struggle achieving their sales quota while others crush their sales consistently? Why some are much more effective than others? In this video, I will talk about 10 tips to help you be more efficient in your overall sales. At the end of this video, I will have all the tips summarized so you can make a screenshot and save it if you want. So watch it until the end. Also, if you like it, and you want to support my channel, give me a thumbs up, make a comment below, share it. And if you are not a subscriber yet, show me your support and subscribe to my channel. So let's go. Tip number 1, stand out from the competition. Don't be a regular salesperson. Most salespeople are doing the same type of sales, the same type of sales approach they used to do 10 years ago. When they talk to their prospects, they get too excited. They pitch whatever they are selling, and they can't wait to talk about what they are offering. And then they go straight to the presentation. And of course, they spend a lot of time, too much time, doing all the talking. They don't even give their prospect a chance to manifest. They don't focus on the value that they can bring to their prospect. Instead, they start thinking about the closing question that they will ask as soon as the presentation ends. So what happens? Their prospect just say, "Oh, thank you, I'm gonna think about that." Or maybe, "Oh, I need some more time." And then they simply never come back. It's time to change your approach. Focus on your prospect, understand what their needs are and the challenge that they are facing at the moment. Be more effective right at the beginning of the conversation. Explore this initial discovery phase to really discover what their pain points are so you can address them later in the conversation. Tip number 2, listen more and talk less. There are some recent data that shows the more a prospect talks during the discovery conversation, the more likely you will close the sale. So your main goal is to engage your prospect, because the more you can get your prospect to talk, the more likely you will close the sale. Get them talking about their challenges, their objectives, and their concerns. That's more important than talking about their product. One of the biggest mistakes salespeople do is that they get too excited about their offer and the solutions that they can provide, and then they talk too much, and that's a huge mistake. You should focus on your prospect and not on your services. Tip number 3, it's not about you or your company, it's about them. Data shows that when salespeople talk about their company or their product for too long, they'll have a negative outcome in selling. And that's because your prospects don't care about your company or how long your company has been around. All they want to know is if the person taking their time can solve their problems. Again, it's about them, not about you or your company. So focus the conversation on the challenge that they are facing and the goals that they want to accomplish. Tip number 4, forget the old pitching approach. Things changed and the pitching approach no longer works. So don't get in front of a prospect and pitch your product or your service. Instead, engage your prospect in a conversation that will give you enough information to get to know them. You want to find out what goals they want to accomplish. You want to understand their business, their challenges, so you can start presenting them a solution. But that comes later. So remember, forget the old style sales pitch. Tip number 5, understand the details of the challenge they are facing. The more you can dig into it, the more you can understand the problems. Tip number 6, this is a big one. Don't waste time with prospects that are not a good fit. Stop trying to convince prospects to buy your product or your service if they are not a good fit. High performers are experts in disqualifying prospects up front, so they focus most of their time only with well-qualified prospects. Also, embrace the no's that you will receive. Many times they will come from prospects who are not a good fit. So see that as part of your selection process. Tip number 7, build value throughout the conversation. Of course, closing the sales is your final goal. And for that to happen, you will need to talk about price and budget at some point. But your conversation should not be led by price. Price should be mentioned at the very end of the conversation. Use your time during the conversation to understand your prospects and to learn about their businesses and to build value during this process. It's not about price, it's about offering them something that will have enough value that the price won't be the focal point. Studies show that bottom average performance salespeople talk about price very early on in the discovery process. So the likelihood of closing the sales is very low when price becomes a focal point. So to increase your chances to have a successful closing, make sure you invest time to learn about their businesses, their processes, their challenges, concerns, and pain points. Tip number 8. Make your corporate presentation about them, not about your company. It sounds crazy, right? Those formal corporate presentations we used to do a few years ago should be dead by now. The way you deliver it and the content in it has changed drastically nowadays. First of all, you need to make sure that you are interacting with your prospect during the presentation. It's a big mistake to make your presentation a monologue. So ask questions, provoke some engagement every once in a while. The focus should be on your prospect, not your company. Also, instead of having the same boring content for all your prospects, you should customize your presentation for each one. You need to incorporate in the presentation solutions to the problems that you already know your prospect is facing. And that's why the discovery process is so important. Then you say, "But Anna, that's a lot of work." Yes, it is, I know, but trust me, I know it sounds crazy, but that's way more effective. It can be the difference between success and failure. Remember this, bottom average performers spend a lot of time on the presentation, while high performers spend time on the discovery process instead. Needless to say, the presentation should be short and straight to the point, right? So tip number 9, closing and next steps. When you make your meeting about them, when you present solutions to their specific problems throughout your presentation, and when you really build value during your whole conversation, showing that you can help them solve their problems, the closing will happen naturally. If the type of product or service you sell requires a more complex sales process with more steps, make sure you end the meeting with a clear and well-defined next steps and deadlines. Tip number 10, last but not least, practice, practice, and practice. Practice to become an expert on the discovery process, discovery phase. And very important, remember, it's less you and more them. That's it. If you have another sales tip that you want to share, please write down in the comments below. I'd love to know. If you like this video, give me a like, share it, and if you're not a subscriber yet, go ahead and show me your support. Subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for your support. See you in the next video. Bye bye.